Good evening and welcome to Estuary TV News. I'm Emma Lingard. On the show tonight, we find out what people think of the decision to demolish Grimsby's high-rise flats.
We feel sorry for them all, but we feel if you just lay down, you'll die. So you've got to fight a bit. We've got petitions all over the place.
And my guest in the studio is Shoreline's Chief Executive Tony Bramley, who are proposing the demolition.
And join me later for the sports news.
But first, it's over to James for the news.
Hello, in the headlines today, a man has died after a serious assault in North Somercotes, and Barrow by name, Barrow by nature enjoy a slightly different festival in northern Lincolnshire this weekend. The victim of a serious assault in North Somercotes has sadly died. He has been named as 43-year-old Wayne Jennings, who lived in the village. 25-year-old Jareth Wadner of Louth Road in South Somercotes appeared in court charged with grievous bodily harm on Tuesday, and officers are now discussing the impact of Mr Jennings' death on active court proceedings with the Crown Prosecution Service. A 50-year-old woman who was also arrested was released on bail until July. A Grimsby man has been jailed for posing as a vet for months and carrying out treatments that caused animals to suffer. Jason Wells, 30, of Fairmont Road, was sentenced for 19 months for 2 counts of causing unnecessary suffering to a protected animal and 3 counts of fraud. He pleaded guilty to the offences but didn't appear in court for sentencing in May, so police issued an appeal to help find him. He eventually handed himself in at a police station in Torquay and was finally sentenced at Grimsby Crown Court on Wednesday. But police believe he may have posed as a vet all over the country and are still appealing for information from anyone who may have fallen victim. The Hull and Humber Chamber of Commerce Expo will be back again next year after the 18th event proved a great success this week. It's part of the world's largest festival of business and has welcomed over 1,000 high-ranking business people through the doors. We caught up with Bruce Massey, the membership and business manager for Hull and Humber Chamber of Commerce at the event.
Well, it's been a great success. Everybody's telling us how good it's been and they want to book a stand for next year. This is the 18th year of Chamber Expo. It'll be here again next year, the 2nd and 3rd of June. Hiring out stands again, more opportunities to get business people to come down and meet up.
Local construction firm Clugston has won the contract to build a £9.5 million university technical college in Scunthorpe. The building is a government-funded building to teach 16 to 19-year-olds which will specialise in engineering and renewables sectors. It's estimated it will create 150 jobs and a further 70 teaching jobs, with work due to start in August this year and the school ready to open in September 2015. Fitties residents have failed in another attempt to get the council to allow them to stay on the site for longer. The Fitties Owners Residents Association applied to have a planning condition removed, which would reduce the time they have to leave the site from 8 weeks a year to 2. They propose replacing it with an evacuation procedure to alleviate concerns over flood risk. But North East Lincolnshire Council's Planning Committee refused the application, putting an end to the latest in a long line of attempts to get the council to allow them to stay at the holiday park all year round. Sidon Homes says it is to wait for written confirmation on why their application to build 160 homes in Scartho was refused before deciding if they will appeal. More than 100 residents that turned up to the planning meeting were ecstatic when the planning committee refused the application. But some councillors did express concerns over refusing it for proper planning reasons. Sidon have since said that they are disappointed in the decision, which went against planning officers' recommendations, and that they would wait for written confirmation on the reasons before deciding if they would appeal. And finally, anywhere else you might consider this slightly strange competition, but it's exactly what you might expect from a place called Barrow upon Humber. The village are hosting the annual wheelbarrow competition this weekend, and members of the public are invited to come and judge the entries on Sunday between 11 and 2 p.m. And there'll be plenty of entertainment as well, including a cake stall and a barbecue at the local pub. Trevor Millam, event organiser, explained how many people will be taking part.
Well, we've got, I think, to date 73 wheelbarrows that people in the village will be preparing. And they decorate them in all sorts of ways. Sometimes they plant them up beautifully, sometimes they put quite unusual, extraordinary things in them. We've had all sorts over the time we've been doing this. And last year the winning wheelbarrow was represented a garden, a vegetable garden, but it was entirely composed of vegetables, including, for instance, trees made out of broccoli and tables made out of mushrooms and things like that. So you can see we have a really ingenious community here.
And if you want to see the full video ahead of the event, visit Estuary TV's Facebook page. Well, I'm afraid that's all we've got time for today, so that's all from me. Until next time, bye for now.
Shoreline Housing Partnership has plans to flatten 638 homes in the 2 maisonette blocks and 6 high-rise tower blocks on Grimsby's East Marsh. They claim the buildings are unpopular and dated, and the £19.5 million investment to get them up to scratch would be better spent on other projects. But not all the current residents are convinced by the compelling financial arguments. James Dunn went along to speak to residents.
Well, over the years, it's been going down and down and down. It's about time they pulled it down, all of it. But don't know where they're going to rehouse 700 people.
And down? Nah, it's just what you make of it, isn't it?
It's our home and we don't want to move. You know, why should we move?
Ours is a mess. We live on the common place and our ceiling's falling through, innit? We've got to wait to come out to repair it. I don't see the point now if it's going to get demolished.
And it's just pulling them apart. You see them in here crying.
There's an old guy
They are
94.
crying in here, aren't they?
There's an old guy, 94. Does he want to be dragged away from his friends? And where he's lived for years. One lady's been in 33 years.
Yeah.
She's heartbroken.
What's it going to do to all our businesses, all the people around here? You spent all this money doing the car parks up, spent all the money doing the fences up, spent all the money doing the pavements and the roads around here. Millions and millions of pounds. Now they're chucking all the people out.
My mum's lived here 18 years now, so the nun's fault. Well, 20 years, I think now. My mum's going to miss it.
Not bad, not bad. It's not good, not safe, you know.
I think they've gone in with their eyes closed because they haven't said what they're going to put on these properties.
I think there's nearly 700 people they've got to rehouse, but they haven't got the property to put them. So we'll just have to wait and see, won't we?
Well, I think they should be knocked down. They're old, about 50-year-old now, so, nothing else you can do. They haven't got 19.3 million to do it, so that's what they're going to do, sort us out somewhere else. But I ain't going just anyway.
You prefer to go somewhere else?
The best place, a good place is okay. No, we're not moving.
Long as my mum gets a garden. Mum's a bit of a gardener. She's ready to retire in about 5-6 years.
At the end of the day, no matter what we say, what we do, they will do what they want to do, and that's all there is to it.
With Shoreline, it says it's going to cost them £19 million for the next 5 years, or about £9 million to flatten it. So it's coming down.
Money speaks volumes, doesn't it? Dangle a carrot, they'll take the carrot.
It'll break my heart to go, but you've just got to go, and that's all there is to it. So,
thank you very much.
If they suddenly make up their mind not to, I'll be one of the happiest people around. Okay, love.
Well, there was mixed reaction there, some wanting to stay and some welcoming the idea to demolish them. Well, watching that with me was Tony Bramley, Shoreline's Chief Executive. Tony, welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
Now, a decision has been made because you say it's going to cost over £19 million to improve those block of flats. Is there no way around this? Because, as they said, that's their homes.
Yeah, I should say that the decision actually hasn't been made. We've gone out to consultation on the decision, and it is a balance between, is it wise to invest such a huge sum of money in those blocks, which our figures definitely suggest are becoming less and less popular.
Okay.
Does that make financial sense, and is it right for the long-term interest of the area? I hear what people say, very mixed reactions. These are people's homes, people have lived there a long time. There's an emotional attachment, but we're out talking to them at the moment and we want to hear what they've got to say about it.
Okay. Now, we heard there's a lot of people that live in that particular area of town. Where will those people go? What will happen to them?
Well, as part of the consultation process, which I say we've already just started, we'll be speaking individually to every single occupant to say to them, well, if you were to be moving, where would you be thinking of going, what type of property type would you be looking for. And one of the things we then have to do is we then have to plot that back at the office and say, right, if that was to happen, can we actually physically do it? Because we have to be realistic. If it's not possible to rehouse the people, it's not possible to go ahead with the project. But until you ask the question, you can never be sure whether it's a practical proposition or not. So that's a key question for us.
As I know, one of the people in there said, you know, I think she said there was about 700 people.
Yeah, that's right.
Are there enough homes for those amount of people? I mean, are you going to have to build more?
It's not an overnight solution. You have to remember that a process of moving so many people, if that's what we end up doing, would take us 2 or 3 years. It's not instant. It's not next year or the year after. It's the year after that. And if you just look at it over a 3 or 4 year period, then we actually let over 1,000 homes a year in Shoreline, just ourselves. So that's 3,000 or 4,000 homes getting let per year over the 4 year period. So they're, in theory, on paper, it should be doable, but in practice it's about what people actually want.
Okay, and like we said, it is people's homes, and it is a sensitive subject and emotional for a lot of people. On the other hand, we did have some people in there saying, yeah, they need ripping down, they're an eyesore, they need work doing on them. But what would replace them? I mean, what's the consultation there for replacing the demolished buildings?
We've got an open question because we have no preconceptions about what may go back on the land if that's what happens and we clear the site. We think it's such an important strategic central town site. Although it's in our ownership, we think the community, the council and other key partners really should be playing a major role in determining what might happen on that site going forward. So we've got no preconceptions, nothing's been predetermined. We're genuinely asking people, what would you like to see back there?
Okay, because again, there was a shopkeeper there, you know, they've got the shops, they're worried about losing business as well. I mean, would you see houses going on that
It's possibly houses could go back there, and I think listening to the shopkeeper, we understand that, but I've only been here 10 years, and at that 10 years, the talk has always been about the death of Freeman Street. And this, whilst it would be a disruptive act, I accept that, this is about creating a long-term potential positive change for the area, which in 10 or 15 or 20 years' time could be bringing much more life back in and making it a much more vibrant street. So it's disruptive at the moment, but the question is, what's the long-term positive benefit from it?
Okay, and finally, obviously you are in the consultation period. Some people again in that film said they feel it's a done deal. Decision's been made, and I see you've got some jobs advertised for some project managers for the Is it a done deal?
No,
is it going to happen?
No, it absolutely can't be. We obviously have to plan for 2 eventualities, going ahead with the plan and not going ahead with the plan. So we're running on 2 tracks. So we have to staff up to run on 2 tracks, and until the decision's taken in the autumn of this year, we'll continue to run on 2 tracks. Once the decision's taken, then we'll know which way we're going. But we're clear with our staff, who are also impacted, and with residents, we really have got an open mind on it. It's our suggestion, but people need to comment.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Tony. This is a story we will obviously be bringing you up-to-date news on. But now it's over to Dave Nunn for the sport.
Thanks, Emma. Paul Hurst has made his first summer signing for Grimsby Town. Scott Brown, who skippered Southport last season, joins the Mariners on a 1-year deal. With 3 successive promotions under his belt, Hurst will be hoping that Brown's experience in a pressure situation can rub off on the rest of the squad. Hull City are on the brink of securing their biggest shirt sponsorship deal, thought to be close to £1 million per season. It will be a record for last season's FA Cup finalists. It's been suggested in some quarters the side will have 1 sponsor for European and domestic cup games and another for league fixtures, much like Tottenham Hotspur did last term. Hull centre-half James Chester made his international debut on Wednesday. The defender, who qualifies to play for Wales for his mother, played the full 90 minutes against Holland in Amsterdam. But despite Chester's inclusion, the Dutch side preparing for the World Cup ran out 2-0 victors. Local golfer Holly Clyburn of Cleethorpes is heading out to North Carolina early to give her more time to acclimatise. She completes in the US Women's Open at Pinehurst Golf Club between the 19th and 22nd of June. In Rugby League, Hull Kingston Rovers have received a double injury blow with the confirmation that Kevin Leroy and Jordan Cox have both sustained broken legs. The pair both left the field in the first half of the Robins' last game against Castleford, and the hope is the duo will be back in time for the end of the regular season. Neither Hull KR nor Hull FC have fixtures this weekend. Back to you, Emma.
Well, that's it. If you want to contact us with a story, then call Grimsby 01472 315 561. Until next week, goodbye.